Well, I actually made it to Redlotus and Superstring Dimensions, and I can honestly say that I don't want to come back here again. It's like the enemies, they have like way more HP or way more defense than they do in Agony 3. It's like team compositions that would usually do well. Like, for instance, I know this may be fire, but I use her and I would usually put like the Stigmata set, or I said it's a set, but I would usually use Isaac Newt at bottom to get like the 41 increased total damage. And then on her, I would usually just put the, I don't know, was this Rolled Amundsen Stigmata set on her to get the increased, 10% increased elemental damage. And then I just keep 3 psychic, I guess, Valkyries on the team for Phoenix's leader skill to be triggered. And this usually would fare well. But out in here, it's like the enemies, they just have way more HP or just way more defense that I can't even clear it. The only stage that I was actually able to clear was the first one. I can't even clear the singular either. So I guess what I'm getting at is, what I've learned from this experience is that you need more than just equipment. Like, it's like each member on your team needs to be in like whatever their recommended equipment is, either for support or for DPS, or all DPS, but they all need to have all their recommended pieces, and you need to have all the proper people to allow to boost whoever your main DPS is, or whoever your main DPS are, to boost their damage. So in other words, you need to be prepared to spend a whole bunch of real world money getting a whole bunch of crystals so you can make all the supply drops necessary to get whatever the latest DPS Valkyries are, their recommended equipment, or their recommended like Memorial Arena or in-game equipment is. And then as well as getting whatever the latest support Valkyries are for the DPS Valkyries, as well as getting them in their recommended, in-game or Memorial Arena equipment. And you might even have to consider getting them to the highest, star ranking as possible. Like, you might need to actually get them to double S or even triple S. In other words, it's just a huge resource investment in order to be able to even just clear Redlotus. And I can honestly say that's an investment I'm not willing to make. And, after this experience, it's making me rethink what my effort should be. In my last video, I mentioned making, trying to salvage this and salvage that to try to get Jinsheng Tan. But Jinsheng Tan will help me to perform better in an Agony 3. But if I keep getting promoted to Redlotus, it's, I spent a lot of time trying to make attempts just so I could get enough points so I can get the, just the regular rewards. In Agony 3, getting these rewards is a piece of cake. I don't want to spend that kind of time just to get the basic rewards, let alone trying to figure out to see if I could find a way to clear it. Because it becomes evident that it's like, once you get to Redlotus or even higher, it's no longer about like skill. Like, skill is I will say, it's still important, but the Valkyries that you have, their S rank level, as well as their equipment, as well as the support Valkyries that you have to surround them, is what begins to matter the most. And the kind of, again, I keep reiterating it, but the kind of investment you would need to make in order to be able to even clear Redlotus, I can't say that it's worth it just for a game. It's crazy. It's crazy. So, I'm again, I'm just rethinking things. Red Lotus is making me rethink things. I might not try to go for Ginseng Tan anymore because I realize now that that won't do anything. And like, I might be able to get closer to clearing Red Lotus, but I doubt I'll actually be able to beat even the last boss. Yeah. Hopefully, when everyone else gets to go, they'll knock me down. Back to Agony 3. I guess what I'm thinking about it when I get to Agony 3, the only thing I could think of to do is to simply like not clear the other floors and then just do well on the last boss. I don't know what to say. I just don't want to go back to Red Lotus. It's just not fun when the content becomes so difficult or the enemies have, so much HP and defense to where there's only one viable way to beat the enemies. All the players are simply forced to play the meta. And there's no diversity in that. There's no experimentation in that. There's no, like individual appeal in that. Everyone is just going to be a carbon copy of the meta. I mean, that's not fun. It's not interesting. You don't get to, it turns from playing what you like or what you're interested in to simply just playing to win. And that's what everybody does. And the only way to play to win is to spend a whole bunch of real money so that way you can get whatever the meta is. I mean, that's boring. You know what I'm saying? It's stupid. I mean, it's a business model. It's not a let's say a fun model or a model for making a game fun. It's a model for generating income from MiHoYo. And I may say MiHoYo, but it's like this with all these companies. It's like, just gaming has just been destroyed by corporate and capitalism. It's not the way it used to be back in like the early 2000s or even like the late 90s, like when Half-Life 1 came out. I mean, games were made to provide an experience and to be fun and to take the players on a journey. It's moved very far away from those origins. And now it's just, how can we squeeze as much money out of the player as possible? How can we manipulate the player to get them to spend real money? It's like playing all kinds of mind games. There's a lot of psychology going into this in terms of manipulation, in terms of like, malice, intentions. I don't know. I'm recording this later after I recorded the first part. But anyway, I don't know, man. I just want to stay out of any aspect of the game, which includes Red Lotus, which forces me to move away from playing the Valkyries I enjoy playing, and forces me to have to adopt whatever the meta is, whatever they want to pump out to try to sell you.